How come some people can eat tons of carbs and still manage to maintain amazing physiques? I'm going to tell you. Hi, and welcome back. Wow, that wasn't too exciting. Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Samantha Souza, certified nutrition coach and creator of the Diet Destroyer program, where you can learn how to end the cycle of yo-yo dieting for good. And today we're going to be talking about why some people can manage to eat a bunch of carbs and maintain amazing physiques, and other people can't or don't, or what is the science behind that. This video was sort of sparked by a comment on this video right above me, and I will put it in the cards here. And somebody just asked, what is it about pairing carbs and fats that makes you gain weight, and what is the science behind that? I consider myself an educator first and foremost, and I love teaching people about nutritional science. I find in my experience that when you know the reason behind something and the science behind why food behaves the way that it does, it gives you a sense of agency. So I thought I would make a video for other people who might be wondering the same thing. But before we get started, make sure you like and subscribe this video. Oh, I'll wait. Now, when it comes to the body, carbs and fats are both fuel sources. So you need to think of your body as kind of like a hybrid car. It can run on both gas and electric. Exciting stuff. Your body was so miraculously and perfectly designed that way so that in times of feast or famine, you can thrive on carbohydrate when you can find it, back when we were foraging as cavemen, or when you couldn't find any food for a while, which was common. We didn't have the grocery store or DoorDash back then. You could just, basically survive on your own fat stores. So fat was an alternate fuel source. Now, we've learned to mimic that in the ketogenic sphere by predominantly eating and training our bodies to use fat as fuel, whether it comes from exogenous fat, as in dietary fat that we're eating, or if it comes from the fat that's already on our bodies. So the trouble is that it's not necessarily, and this is where the common misconception comes, it's not that carbs make you fat. They don't. But if you look at any sort of person with a maybe aspirational body type or amazingly fit physique, those are people, when they're eating high amounts of carbs, they're eating low fats. You could really only be either high fat, low carb, or low carb, high fat. That's two ways of the same thing, right? Let me try that again. So you can either be high carb, low fat, or low carb, high fat. Those are kind of the two methodologies. It's kind of like a seesaw, and this is how I explain it in my Diet Destroyer program in more detail. But I want to give you like a little brief summary. If you think of your body like a seesaw, if it's going to be like not broken, it can either be high fat, low carb, or low fat, high carb. People who eat tons of carbs are usually maintaining lower fat macros to accommodate for those carbs. We don't want two different fuel sources running at the same time, because your body just doesn't run like that. It needs one fuel source at one time. A hybrid car doesn't run on gas and electric at the same time. It shifts in modes. And the way that your body decides that is dictated by what you put in your mouth. So if you're giving it high fat, high carb, your seesaw is broken. That's just not how it's designed. Or conversely, if you're eating a bunch of protein and keeping carbs low and fats low, that's probably why a lot of people feel like garbage when they eat just a high protein diet and they're not supplementing the appropriate amount of fats. Your seesaw is broken either way. Again, the seesaw comparison is something that I teach in my Diet Destroyer program in more detail. If you are interested in scheduling a free consultation with me, all of my consultations are 100% free. You have nothing to lose. At the very least, get some free advice, maybe figure out why you're stalling out on keto, or if keto is even for you and it's something you're dabbling in. I've been keto for 12 years, used my certified nutrition coach training to teach people how to do it to the most effective way and dictate their body composition on demand. So feel free to schedule that free consultation down below. So hopefully that makes sense. This is why when you think of high carb, high fat foods, they tend to be fat creating foods, fattening foods. Things like French fries, high carb, high fat. Things like candy, high carb, high fat. The fattening foods that we can most commonly think of are foods that have both energy sources, so it's almost a non-negotiable that there's going to be excess energy within those foods that your body is going to store as fat. Whereas when you look at people who are eating super healthy high carb, low fat meals, they're eating things like oatmeal and they're not putting tons of butter and sugar in it. They're eating things like plain rice with not a lot of butter or flavoring. They're not pairing the carbohydrate source with a high fat source. Conversely, people who live a ketogenic lifestyle, they're eating lots of fat, but they're not pairing it with any carbs. So both of those things are valid and valid ways to utilize and burn fat in our body and use for fuel. But when you compare them, that's when you get into trouble. Potato chips, things like that. So hopefully this short and sweet video helped explain to you why people can eat lots of carbs and still maintain a fit physique, and conversely, why people can eat tons of fat and not get fat and in fact lose weight. Your body is this hybrid magical vehicle that is prepared for any situation possible. Unfortunately, we are no longer cavemen and we have food at the tips of our fingers at any given moment, and we tend to overdo it a little bit because of that. If you have any more questions or topics you'd like me to discuss on this channel, please leave them down in the comments. Like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time on my channel. Maybe you'd be interested in one of these videos right here. I think you might be. See you next time.